The storm came through on a Wednesday night in the second week of June. The kind of storm that the southwestern Kansas plains produce when they have decided to mean it. Not the dramatic wall cloud of the spring tornadoes, just the flat, hard wind that comes out of the west and leans on everything for 6 hours and doesn't apologize. I heard it from the house, lying awake the way I lay awake most nights since April, listening to it work on the outbuildings and the trees and whatever else it found in its way. By the time it quit around 3 in the morning, I had a reasonable estimate of the damage, and I had already decided that sleep was not going to happen and that I might as well be up. I was right about the damage. The east fence line, 300 yards of barbed wire running from the county road down to the creek bend, the line that separated my pasture from the Alderman property, was down for most of its length. The posts had not broken. They had been pulled, the wind getting under the wire and lifting it and using it like a lever until the posts came out of the hard-pan ground. 300 yards of wire lay in the grass like something that had given up, the posts tilting or flat, the whole structure simply finished. I stood at the north end of the line in the Thursday morning gray and looked at it the way you look at damage that is going to require a full day's work, thoroughly and without sentiment, making the inventory. How many posts? How much wire? What sections could be restrung and what would need to be replaced? What I had in the barn and what I was going to need to drive to town for. I had most of what I needed. The come-along, the wire stretcher, the post driver. Enough new posts for the sections where the old ones had cracked on the way out. Enough wire if I was careful about what could be salvaged. A full day alone. I had been spending most of my days alone since April, and I had gotten efficient about it, which is what you become when you have to. I went to the barn and got what I needed and drove the truck to the north end of the line and started. I had been working for about an hour, had the first 40 yards re-stretched and the posts back in when I heard the truck. Coming from the south, from the Alderman property side, which was not a road that saw much traffic, I kept working. The truck stopped somewhere south of me, and I heard a door and then the sounds that I recognized after a moment as someone else working on the fence. I kept working. I did not go to look. At 11 o'clock, I was 160 yards in. The sun was up and working, and the June heat was the specific kind that southwestern Kansas June produces. Not the worst heat, not July, but present and direct and making itself known. I had my shirt rolled to the elbows, and the sweat was in my eyes, and I was on my knees resetting a post that had come out clean when I heard boots on the dry grass behind me. I looked up. She was medium height with a single braid down her back and gray eyes and leather work gloves tucked in her back pocket and a battered tan hat that had seen more Kansas sun than mine. She had a come-along in her left hand and a pair of wire cutters in her right, and she was covered in the specific dust that comes from working close to the ground on a dry Kansas morning. She looked at the section I was working on and then at me. "Rose Alderman," she said. "Henry Calder," I said. "I know who you are." "I know who you are too," she said. "I'm working from the south end, started at the creek bend." She looked at the wire lying in the grass between us. "I've got about 130 yards done." I looked south. "That means we've got about 10 yards left between us," I said. "About that," she said. "You want to finish from here, or should I come back and we'll work toward each other?" I stood up. "I'll come south," I said. "The next section has a post that needs replacing, and I've got the new posts in the truck." "I brought extra posts," she said. "If you need them." I looked at her. "Why did you come?" I said. She looked at the fence line. "Because a fence line down on the property line is down on both sides," she said. "Your cattle get through my pasture or mine get through yours. It's the same problem either way." She paused. "And because it's faster with 2 people." "You didn't have to," I said. "I know I didn't," she said. She turned and walked back south, and I picked up my tools and followed. We worked the remaining section together, which was a different kind of work from working alone in the way that all collaborative physical work is different from solitary. The rhythm adjusting to two people rather than one. The distribution of tasks settling into the natural division that emerges when both people know what they're doing. She knew what she was doing. This was visible immediately and required no confirmation. The way she handled the wire stretcher, the efficiency of her movements, the specific lack of wasted motion that comes from having done a thing many times. She did not need direction and did not ask for it, and I did not offer any. We worked for an hour. The last section went in. The fence line was restored from the county road to the creek bend, 300 yards of it, functional and sound. We stood at the south end of the finished line with the creek visible through the cottonwoods behind us and the pasture on both sides green from the storm's rain and the June heat building and the work done. "Thank you," I said. "You'd have done it yourself," she said. "I would have," I said. "It would have taken until evening." "It's barely noon," she said. "Yes," I said. She pulled her work gloves from her back pocket and put them on, the gesture of someone who was about to go back to the rest of the day. Then she stopped. "You're Henry Calder," she said. "You've been on this property since your father died. You farm wheat and run about 40 head of cattle." She looked at the line we had fixed. "You've been working alone since your wife left in April." I looked at her. "Where did you hear that?" "Pruitt's wife," she said. "She hears everything within 20 miles. She was not unkind about it, just accurate." "I'm sorry," she said, "about your wife." "Thank you," I said. "I know what alone on a farm is," she said. "I've been doing it since my father died in '33. She looked at the creek. "It's not as bad as people think. But it's not nothing either." I looked at this woman who had shown up at my fence line at 7 in the morning with her own tools and worked the other end and met me in the middle, and now was standing at the south end of the fixed line in the June noon, telling me she knew what alone on a farm was. "Have you eaten?" I said. She looked at me, the gray eyes with the slight amusement in them. "Not since 5, she said. "I've got food at the house," I said, "if you want to come back." She looked at the creek and the fence and the pasture. "The fence is done," she said. "There's nothing else that requires me here." "No," I said, "there isn't." "All right," she said. "I'll come back." We drove in our separate trucks the half-mile back to my place, her truck following mine. The two trucks in the rearview mirror the specific strangeness of someone else in my lane after 2 months of no one. I made sandwiches from what the kitchen had, which was adequate if not abundant, and I put coffee on, and she sat at the kitchen table and took her hat off and set it on the chair beside her, and the braid fell over her left shoulder. She ate the way she worked, efficiently and without fuss. She drank the coffee black. She looked at the kitchen with the direct gray eyes and did not comment on its state, which had been the state of a kitchen maintained by one man for 2 months, which is to say, functional and not much more. "Your kitchen needs attention," she said. "I know," I said. "Not criticism," she said. "Observation." "I know that too," I said. She looked at me, the slight amusement. "You say I know a lot," she said. "I know things," I said. Something happened at the corner of her mouth. Not quite a smile, the precursor of one, the acknowledgement of a thing found worth acknowledging. I had not made anyone's mouth do that since I could remember, and I noted it the way I noted everything that morning, which was carefully and without making a production of the noting. "Rose," I said. "Henry," she said. "Why did you really come?" I said. She looked at her coffee cup. "I told you why I came," she said. "The fence is on my property line too. My cattle, I know," I said. "That's the true part. That's not all of it." She was quiet for a moment. The kitchen was quiet. Outside, the June afternoon was doing its thing. the heat and the light and the land going about its business regardless of what was happening at this particular kitchen table. "Mrs. Pruitt told me you'd been working alone since April," she said. "She told me the storm came through your east line hard." She looked at the table. "I know what it is to look at a day's work and know it's going to take until evening because there's only you to do it." She paused. "I didn't like the idea of you looking at that fence line alone." I looked at her. At the braid over her left shoulder, and the gray eyes in the kitchen light, and the work gloves still in her back pocket because she hadn't taken them out. "You drove over at 7 in the morning," I said, "with your own tools." "The fence wasn't going to fix itself," she said. "No," I said, "it wasn't." We sat at the kitchen table and finished the coffee and talked about the storm and the damage it had done on the Alderman property, 2 sections of her north fence also down, which she had already addressed before she came over, which told me that she had fixed her own fence and then come to fix mine, which was a piece of information I sat with for a while. We talked about the cattle markets and the June rains and whether the wheat in the South counties was going to produce this year. We talked about her father, who I had known slightly, a quiet man, reliable, the kind of neighbor you wanted on your property line. We talked about Liberal and whether the town was going to manage the summer without the relief program collapsing, which was the question every conversation in Seward County came back to eventually that year. We did not talk about my wife. We did not talk about her husband, who I had heard existed briefly and then did not. These were the things that did not need to be pressed, and neither of us pressed them. At 2 o'clock, she stood and put her hat on and said she had cattle to check before evening. "Thank you for dinner," she said. "Thank you for the fence," I said. She looked at me for a moment, the gray eyes in the kitchen doorway. "Henry," she said. "Yes," I said. "I'm going to be working the north pasture most of July," she said. "If you're in that part of the county and need anything." "I'll keep that in mind," I said. She nodded once and went out, and I heard her truck start and go down the lane. I stood at the kitchen window and watched the truck until it was gone, and then I looked at the kitchen, the 2 cups on the table, the sandwich plates, the coffee pot still warm on the stove, and I thought about a woman who had fixed her own fence and then come to fix mine, and about gray eyes and a braid over a left shoulder, and the specific thing that had happened at the corner of her mouth when I said, "I know things." I had been alone on this farm since April. I had gotten efficient about it. That afternoon, I thought about efficiency for a while, and then I thought about something else entirely. The north pasture of the Alderman property adjoined my fence line for about a quarter mile at the northwest corner. I knew this because I knew every boundary of the properties around me the way you know the boundaries of the world you live in, completely and without having to think about it. I had not had occasion to be in that part of my northwest section in some time. There were a few posts there that had been showing some leans since last fall that I had been meaning to address. I addressed them on a Thursday in the second week of July. I was working the northwest corner fence when I heard the Alderman truck in the north pasture. It came around the field edge and stopped, and she got out and stood at the fence and looked at the posts I was setting. "The lean on those has been there since last fall," she said. "I've been meaning to get to it," I said. "The third one from the east needs a new post, not resetting," she said. "The wood's gone soft at the ground line." I looked at the third post from the east. She was right. "I've got new posts in the truck," I said. "I know," she said. "I can see them from here." She leaned against her truck and watched me work. She did not offer to help. This was my fence, my property, my problem. But she did not leave either. After a while, she said, "There's a section on my east side that's been showing the same lean. Different cause, the cattle have been working it." "Cattle will do that," I said. "Yes," she said, "they will." I set the new post. I re-stretched the wire on the section. I moved to the next post and she was still there. "Rose," I said. "Henry," she said, "are you working the north pasture today? Or are you here because the northwest corner of your property adjoins the northwest corner of mine, and you knew I was going to be here?" She was quiet for a moment. "Both," she said. I looked at her over the fence line. Both, I said. The north pasture needed checking, she said. That part of it needed checking today. She looked at the fence. And I knew you were going to be here. I put the wire stretcher down. I walked to the fence between us and put my hands on the top wire. Rose, I said. You already said that, she said. I know, I said. I'm saying it again. She looked at me with the gray eyes across the fence. The slight amusement was still there, but it was different from the morning of the fence repair. Less the amusement of someone observing an interesting situation, and more the amusement of someone who has arrived at a conclusion and is watching the conclusion arrive. Henry, she said, I fixed your fence in June. You did, I said. And now you're fixing posts on the corner of your property that adjoins mine, she said. The posts needed doing, I said. The posts could have waited until fall, she said. They could have, I said. She looked at the fence between us, at the top wire under my hands. This is a very Kansas courtship, she said. Something shifted in my chest. Is that what this is? I said. Isn't it? She said. I looked at the fence, at the wire under my hands, at the woman on the other side of the property line with the braid over her left shoulder and the gray eyes and the work gloves in her back pocket, and 2 years of alone on a farm under her, and the knowledge of exactly which posts needed replacing from which causes. Rose, I said, you're going to have to stop saying my name and say something else eventually, she said. The corner of her mouth again, more of it now. Have supper with me, I said, at the house, tonight, 6 o'clock. She looked at me for a long moment, the gray eyes doing the assessment that they had been doing since June, the assessment that had apparently been arriving at a conclusion for a month and a half. All right, she said. She drove over at 5:50, which I noted. I had made supper, a real one, not sandwiches, a meal that required the kitchen to be in better condition than it had been in June, which it was, because I had spent the week before attending to it in the way that a man attends to things when he has a reason. She came to the door and I let her in, and she looked at the kitchen and did not say anything about it, which told me she noticed the difference. We ate at the kitchen table. The same table, the same 2 chairs, the same window showing the June evening light. Different from June, though. The ease between us different. The conversation different. The specific quality of 2 people who have been circling something for 6 weeks and have decided, in a field at a fence line, that they are done circling. She told me about Cole, who had left in 1931 for California with intentions he had not kept. And she told it the way she told everything, plainly, without self-pity, as a piece of history that was hers and that she had processed and put down. She said she did not know where he was and did not find that she needed to know. I told her about Margaret, which was harder, because Margaret and I had not been bad together. We had been good for a long time, and then we had been worn down by the hard years in the way that things get worn down, slowly and then all at once. And the leaving had not been anyone's worst impulse, but it had been real, and I had not fully understood what the house would be like after until April. April is a long time to be alone, she said. February is longer, I said. She looked at me. Yes, she said, it is. After supper, we sat on the porch in the June evening because the kitchen was warm from the stove and the porch was where the air was. The long southwestern Kansas evening doing its thing, the light going gold and horizontal, the land going a darker green in the dusk, the cattle visible in the near pasture moving toward the water. Her cattle were visible in the distance through the trees where the fence line ran, the fence line we had fixed together in June. Henry, she said. Yes, I said. I'm going to tell you something, she said, that I don't say to people. All right, I said. I have been very good at being alone, she said. Since my father died and before that, since Cole left. I have been correct and capable, and I have run the property well, and I have not needed anyone to run it with me. She looked at the pasture. And I have been lonely the whole time. The way you're lonely when you're too stubborn to admit it to yourself, until someone shows up at your fence line at 7 in the morning, and you realize on the drive over that you've been looking for a reason to do it for a month. I looked at her. "A month," I said. "Since May," she said. "When Mrs. Pruitt told me your wife had gone. I'm not proud of that." "Rose," I said. "Don't say my name again like that," she said. "Say something." I looked at the pasture, at the fence line visible in the evening light, the line we had fixed together, the line that ran between our properties and separated them and connected them at the same time. "I'm glad you came," I said. "In June, with your own tools." She was quiet for a moment. "That's something," she said. "There's more," I said. "I know there is," she said, "but that's enough for tonight." We sat on the porch until the light was gone and the stars came up and the cattle had settled for the night on both sides of the fence line. She drove home at 9, and I watched the truck go down the lane, and I sat on the porch step for a while after the truck was gone, and thought about a woman who had been lonely for 2 years and had been correct and capable about it, and who had driven over at 7 in the morning in June with her own come-along and her own wire stretcher because the fence was down, and she was not a woman who left things unfixed. She came to supper the following week, and the week after that. We worked the fence lines together in August when the cattle had pushed 2 sections on her east side, and we worked my south section together in September when the posts needed resetting after the summer dry. We drove to Liberal together in October for supplies, which people noticed because people in Seward County notice everything, and which I found I did not mind being noticed. In November, on a cold, clear afternoon when the wheat was in the ground and the cattle were in the near pasture and the work of the season was done, she was sitting on my porch step with a cup of coffee, and I was beside her, and the fence line was visible through the bare cottonwoods, and everything was quiet in the way Kansas is quiet in November, which is completely. "Henry," she said. "Yes," I said. "I've been coming to supper for 5 months," she said. "You have," I said. "And working your fence lines," she said. "And I've been working yours," I said. "Yes," she said. "That's true." She looked at the fence line through the trees. "The line between the properties runs about a 1/4 mile north to south," she said. "I've been thinking about that line." "What have you been thinking about it?" I said. She looked at me. The gray eyes in the November afternoon light, the same eyes that had assessed me in June and had been arriving at a conclusion for 5 months, and had arrived. "I've been thinking it's a very good fence line," she said, "now that we've both put work into it." "It is," I said. "It's a solid line." "But it's inconvenient," she said, "having the line there." I looked at her. "Inconvenient how?" I said. "In the specific way that a property line is inconvenient when the person on the other side of it is someone you'd rather be on the same side of," she said. I looked at the fence line through the bare cottonwoods, at the November sky above it, at this woman beside me on the porch step who had fixed my fence in June and come to supper 5 months running and known which post needed replacing from which cause, and had been lonely for 2 years and had driven over at 7 in the morning because the fence was down. "Rose," I said. "You always say my name first," she said. "I like your name," I said. "Say the rest of it," she said. "Stay," I said. "Not for supper, not to fix the fence. Stay." She looked at the fence line for a long moment. Then she looked at me. "Henry Calder," she said. "It took you 5 months. It took you a month just to find a reason to come over," I said. "That's fair," she said. The November afternoon held us both. The cattle on both sides of the fence line, the bare cottonwoods, the Kansas sky going the particular color it goes in November, not the summer blue, something more specific, something that says winter is coming and means it and is still beautiful anyway. "Yes," she said. I looked at her. That was a yes, she said. I knew that. I had known it before she said it, the same way I knew which posts needed replacing before I tested them. by the quality of the thing, by what it told you when you paid the right kind of attention. I had been paying the right kind of attention since June. The fence line ran between the properties through the cottonwoods and the pasture, and down to the creek bend, 300 yards of wire and posts that we had fixed together on a Thursday in June and had been tending together ever since. It was a good fence line, but she was right that it was inconvenient.